We're going to start with Karl. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why did you choose Nanton?
Well, I'm a retired airline pilot, amateur historian, budding mechanic, especially on Halifaxes. And the Halifax is such an important airplane in RCAF and Canadian history. And when we were finished with rebuilding one Halifax for the museum in Ontario, the best museum I had ever worked with was Bomber Command Museum in Nanton, Alberta. So in 2005, I moved there. They accepted me with open arms, and I became part of their group. And they are the best memorial and warbird group, in my opinion, in all of Canada.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Scott?
Right. Well, Scott Knox, I'm born and raised in Ottawa, and I've known Karl and the team for 30 years now, almost, I think it is. Started off helping Karl with NA337. A colleague of mine put a newspaper article on my desk, and I was with the RCMP at the time, and I thought to myself, this sounds like a really cool project. I wish I could get involved. And I thought, oh no, that's for other people. I can't do that kind of thing. Those skills are well beyond me. And I thought to myself, well, what's a phone call going to cost me? So I eventually got a hold of Karl and found out he was living right here in Ottawa at the time. So I called him up. I said, you don't know me from Adam, but if you could use my skill set, give me a call. And no, lo and behold, about a week later, he says, hey, I need you to do some technical work for lifting a Halifax bomber out of a lake. I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. And we've been working together ever since, off and on over the years. My driving force is my father. My father was with Bomber Command as a bomb aimer. He started off with 100 Squadron on Lancasters, and then they formed 550 Squadron. And a few years ago, the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight Lancaster was painted Phantom of the Ruhr, which my father did 13 operations in that actual aircraft. So, my driving force is my dad and my heritage. But our mandate is to not focus on the Lancaster, but to focus on the Halifax, which has often been ignored. But we're changing that.
Right on.
What are some of the things in Alberta, Karl, that the Bomber Command Memorial or the Bomber Command Museum features?
Well, okay, so the Bomber Command Museum of Canada in Nanton, Alberta, is the national memorial to the 10,800 plus Canadians killed in bombers in World War II. They have a memorial wall with all the names on it. They have a running Lancaster, and God willing, if we can put together our Halifax we're doing now, they will have a running Halifax at Nanton, Alberta. Beautiful team, great guys, and their unofficial motto is convert the impossible to the difficult and get her done. And I'll tell you what, my buddy here, Scott Knox, he's been innovating and stick handling with this Halifax airframe. And Scott, if you don't want to live in Ottawa anymore, you're coming to Nanton, Alberta, okay? Because we want you out there if Ottawa doesn't want you.
Well, this is the first I've heard of this, but be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, well, anyway, so that's what we're doing here.
Scott, tell us why did you choose Arnprior and the Arnprior Airport?
I remember you invited us to a video viewing at the Air and Space Museum, Jim, and I met re-met Karl after many years, and I said, "Hey, I just bought this 1,000 square foot industrial condo in south of Ottawa, and I'd heard that he was working on a wing building that I just bought for the project. So it filled up with parts in about 3 months, and we stayed there for a few years. But there just wasn't enough room to work effectively on the wing. We did what we could. We managed to get an awful lot done actually in that 1,000 square feet. But it was obvious we were spilling out the sides of this building. So I sold that unit and bought up in Arnprior. I called around to different airports and whatnot in the area to try to find some space. I was going to build some commercial facilities somewhere, but the cost was prohibitive. I called up Arnprior, and they were accepting us with open arms. They thought it was perfect. It fit with the mandate of the airport, and so I had a hangar built up there, 60 by 40 hangar, and it's just a wonderful place to be. There's like-minded people all around. They have open houses every year. We are getting a lot of visitors, frankly, probably every weekend. We're getting visitors. So it's right near the Trans-Canada Highway. It's a great location. And, in a perfect world, we'd have a lot of money. We'd be able to have a kind of a museum presence there. A lot of the folks on the field are talking about that. And who knows, maybe some of the deep pockets will be able to help us out. But Arnprior is a perfect location for what we're doing.
Karl, this must cost a lot of money to do this. This is a project that we started with 1995 in Norway, pulling it out of 750 feet of water. Then the lads in Trenton, all the veterans getting together and working for 10 years to rebuild it. And then Karl and Scott and Jim's and everybody else in the gang, we're trying to build a second airplane now for the veterans, in honor of the veterans, the second Halifax for Canadians. Karl, tell me, how do you get this thing to pay for itself? This thing must be very expensive. How do you do it?
Well, right from the very beginning, we had Halifax 57 Rescue. We became a legal charity, and we have our diehard followers, our stalwarts, and in the main, they are, what shall I say, children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews of the airmen that flew the Halifax in World War II. And they want to see another airframe in Canada, and they're willing to support us through thick and thin. So we're a charity. We get donations. Every once in a while, we get a really good donation, but the money keeps coming in, and we keep rebuilding. Scott and his team, and my job is to go around the world and find all the Halifax parts that we're missing. And then I love to work on the airframes, but that's only part of my bailiwick. So the whole point being is we rely on donations and the generosity of Canadian patriots and people that love the Halifax. And we're still rolling. We're healthy. Sometimes we go on a very tight budget, but we're still rolling, and we're hoping and continuing to appeal to the people to support the Halifax project. It's as Canadian a project as you can ever get.
Okay, well, Scott, I got one question more for you. I'm going to ask you this important question. We've moved from TimeKeepers Canada, where we've been featuring the shows. We got 30 shows up on TimeKeepers Canada for Halifax 57 Rescue. But now we've changed over to a new channel to separate them. So if you want to see us, the show now, you've got to come to Halifax 57 Rescue on YouTube. Now, Scott, can you tell the viewers how they do this and how the switchover will take place?
Sure. Well, the switchover is basically seamless. We have a YouTube channel, Halifax 57 Rescue branded YouTube channel. So if you go on YouTube and you search for Halifax 57 Rescue, you should find that that YouTube channel. So all the new content will be going there. People's feeds should automatically get that content. There's nothing that the users need to do. It should appear in their content, and if it's not appearing, they can just search for that. Now, YouTube is only one part of the social media campaign. We now have 4 elements of that campaign. So we have the YouTube channel, as we just spoke of. We have a Facebook group as well, and again, branded Halifax 57 Rescue. And I just noticed that we're getting a really good uptick of views. I just posted an image the other day, and it got over 3,000 views. So that's still a drop in the bucket, but it's starting to increase. So the Facebook page, we also have a revamped and complete website. Again, Halifax 57 Rescue. You can search for that, and there'll be updates available there. There's archival material. There's links to other content, including some of your videos, Jim. And so, but that's the place where you're going to get all the background information on the project. And I've also just recently set up an Instagram account. So every time I go to the shop, I post a quick image or two of what we're doing. And again, I just posted yesterday, and we've got 1,800 views just from what I posted yesterday. And I noticed our friend Ian Slater from in BC said, "Good job. We're getting lots of thumbs up." And I'm finding that there's a community out there where I'm starting to recognize who a lot of these players are, and they also have content, right? So we can grow a little Canadian aviation group, almost virtual group. But so yeah, so our social media campaign has 4 prongs: YouTube, website, Facebook, Instagram so far. And it's really important that we grow this social media campaign. We need to go back to your previous question. We need funding to keep this project going, and social media will hopefully be part of that equation. If we can reach tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of people, we can get them to donate to our fundraiser page and keep us going. This social media campaign is fundamental to our future, and to find new donors out there. We can't keep going back to the same month after month. We need to find new sources of revenue.
Sure. Well, let me just say that I'm getting ready to come later on in less than a week. I'm going to be out there with you, Scott, at Arnprior, Ontario, to help with the rebuild. We've got parts to pack up to come to Alberta. We've got, I'd want to help the guys. That beautiful trailing edge of the wing that you're almost finished. I'm really looking forward to seeing that in person, but we'll just keep rolling together as a team. And thank you very much for all your efforts, and hope to see you soon. Is there anything you'd like to say goodbye to the folks with?
Yeah, well, looking forward to seeing you next week. And I also wanted to mention that we're tentatively, both you and I are potentially traveling to the UK, and we're going to maybe be reaching out to some contacts there. And again, shaking some hands, networking, which is a key to the success of this project. Over the years, Karl, you've done such an excellent job connecting with people, making that network happen, and that's where we get the material, right? I mean, that's where we're getting this both information and material. Without that, we wouldn't have a project. So, hats off to you and your ability to network with folks. And so it'd be nice. I'd like to meet some of these folks as well. So hopefully that happens in the new year.
Great. Okay, thanks, Scott. We'll see you in a few days, buddy.
Right on. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.